Have you heard that there are 6 classic Dr. Seuss children's books that are being canceled? Has our society finally lost it and our children are paying the price by losing the opportunity to read about classic, delightful characters by the digital book burning wokers? I'm Holly McLean, the mommy answer lady. And folks, I have never done a video about a current news cycle, and I have tried to stay out of the political discussions on the mommy answer lady venues. But this one really stuck in my craw, and I had to speak out about it. Usually I produce step-by-step weekly videos to help parents become the most effective parents they can be, and I guess this one might do that too, but in a different way. I hope this one will help you think about what's going on in the culture of ours and finally say enough is enough. There's a real move in the culture by what I believe to be a vast minority of people to shut down everything and everyone the left doesn't like and to be offended at just about anything. This is causing havoc in the lives of our children, and I just had to say something about it. In the past few years, there has been a growing list of things the wokers have decided need to go. We have sat by and let it happen, too afraid to say, that's just ridiculous. Afraid that if we speak out, we will be among the canceled and our jobs, our families, and our freedom would be in jeopardy. And it's not just about things they don't like. It's about erasing all the wonder and beauty of our differences. Differences in gender, race, and culture. To point out the wonder and awesome beauty of the differences has now become offensive and racist. No. I say no. Pointing out differences alone is not racist, but instead can be a compliment and an encouragement to each of us. I'm first going to define racism because we need to get it straight what that word really means. Here's the dictionary definition. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. Pointing out the differences in culture is not racist because it is not being prejudiced or showing discrimination or being antagonistic. It is simply pointing out obvious things that are different and actually are beautiful in my opinion. Just a few things the wokers are trying to erase by using the racism and offense cards include boys and girls bathrooms, men's and women's sports, and for that matter, boys and girls and men and women. And anything that relates to identifying a culture or race, even Aunt Jemima's syrup or Land of Lakes butter or Eskimo pies have lost their mascots. And sports teams are giving in by not honoring Native Americans with the Indians or Warriors or Redskins. Do they not realize that using these mascots are actually giving them honor? They're saying these are such strong characters that we want our sports teams and our products to reflect their strengths and their virtues. So is it, how dare you point out our strengths and our virtues? But instead of these companies and organizations saying, enough is enough, they just give in. And not only that, they actually apologize for honoring these characters. What have we come to? Now even classic children's books are in the line of fire. Now the Asian characters in the book I Saw It on Mulberry Street by Dr. Seuss are offensive and racist. They were deemed offensive because they depict Asians with slanted eyes, eating rice, and wearing a conical hat. Asians do have eyes that look different than Europeans, Africans, and other races. So what? They're beautiful. They're unique. Why try to erase that? They do eat rice in Asian countries, like Americans eat bread and Hispanics eat tortillas. When you go to an Asian restaurant, guess what? You will find rice on the menu. In fact, it is often included in every entree. Just like at American-themed restaurants, they may give you bread, and Hispanic restaurants, they give you tortilla chips. So what? Is there something wrong with eating rice as a staple part of a diet and mentioning that that is what Asians do? Then there was a complaint about a picture in the book that read, Chinese man who eats with sticks. Guess what? Chopsticks are sticks. And people in Asian countries do eat with sticks. So what? What if it said Americans who eat with forks? Would that be offensive? No, because in America, People usually do eat with forks. That's not racist and it isn't offensive. It is simply pointing out the differences in cultures. Is there something wrong with the hats they used to wear? Americans wore cowboy hats. A lot of Americans wore cowboy hats. I wouldn't be offended if there was a portrayal of an American eating hamburgers and wearing a cowboy hat. In fact, at the 4th of July parades, many Americans wear them to show their patriotism, and they don't wear them any other time of the year. Many also cook hamburgers on the grill. Is there something wrong with that? How is that offensive? To point it out. So what if it's a stereotype? It's not a bad one. It's not offensive. It would be a completely different thing if we were talking about degrading Asians in some way, or if calling a sports team the Warriors was saying something bad about Native American people. It isn't. Neither was Dr. Seuss saying anything bad about Asians in the Mulberry Street book. And by taking that book out of production, the Dr. Seuss organization is perpetuating this lie and giving in to the woke mob who is ordering compliance with their ridiculous demands. I'm not going to go into each of the books and each silly complaint made that put these books in the line of fire. And we don't have to lump in these innocent and heartwarming characters portrayed in the Dr. Seuss books with real racist cartoons that depicted cultures in degrading and truly offensive ways. But when are parents going to stand up and say they are done with this wokeness and demand that those educated fools in academia stop trying to reshape our culture into a model where everyone is the same? Genderless robots who have lost all roots to their own culture, afraid to speak their minds for fear of offending the elite left. Here's the bottom line. Let's teach our children that any person who degrades another person, looks down on them, treats them as if they are not equal based on their race, sex, or religious beliefs is wrong. But enjoying and embracing the differences in people is good, because the truth is there are men and there are women. There are different cultures with different ways of eating, dressing, and speaking, and people who have different religious beliefs. And all those things are wonderful and should be celebrated and not erased. Everyone should be treated with respect, and all should be allowed to speak their own mind and opinion. They should be able to write books, and we should be able to choose whether or not we wish to read them without the woke left telling us what we can and can't read, do, say, draw, or write. Whenever you get the chance, let your children know this whole cancel culture is wrong and tell them why. Give them information and help them discern truth from the woke mob's rhetoric. I hope to be back next week with more step-by-step instructional videos, but I had to take a few moments and speak on this subject because this giving in to the cancel culture has got to end. Parents, you can do this. Please don't forget to share and subscribe, and I hope to see you here next week.